Despite describing himself as the greatest entertainer to ever grace the football field, Chad Ochocinco Johnson was not just about showmanship. He was one of the most dynamic receivers in the NFL during his prime. Known for his elaborate touchdown celebrations, Ochocinco was loud, outspoken, and confident. But hey, he backed it all up on the field. So, how good was 85 really?
I got a trivia question. It's a new year, same old question. How do you stop 85?
Chad Javon Johnson was born on January 9, 1978, right in the heart of Miami, Florida. But his early years were far from typical. At just 5, his mother, Paula Johnson, felt she couldn't handle raising 2 boys on her own, and so made a tough call, leaving Johnson with his grandmother while she headed off to California with his brother, Chauncey. Young Chad was a bundle of energy, always on the move. He'd get into all sorts of trouble as a way to channel his boundless energy. He played soccer and football at Miami Beach Senior High, and did well in both sports. But unfortunately, when it came to academics, he struggled to keep up. Despite his athletic prowess, his grades weren't up to par for colleges like Miami or Florida State that came calling. So he found himself at Langston University in Oklahoma, hoping to turn things around. But trouble seemed to follow him, and he ended up getting booted off the team for a fight. Following his grandmother's advice, he made the move out to California and hit the grind at Santa Monica Community College, where he balanced his studies with an unusual job, a strip dancer. But when he wasn't on the stage, he was on the field giving it his all, despite his efforts putting up impressive numbers on the field. Yet, he still found himself short on credits to land a spot at a Division I school. After his setback, and just when it seemed like all his hard work might not pay off, Oregon State University's coach, Dennis Erickson, came knocking, eager to recruit Johnson for the Beavers. Without skipping a beat, Chad committed to the team. He buckled down, wrapping up his summer school courses just 3 weeks before the 2000 season kicked off. Now Johnson arrived a bit late to the Beavers party and was 4th on the receiver depth chart. But he wasted no time climbing up to the top, earning himself a starting spot alongside another future NFL teammate, TJ Houshmandzadeh. And that season, the Beavers finished with an impressive 11-1 record. And Johnson wasn't just along for the ride. Oh no, he was breaking records left and right, like the time he snagged a 97-yard reception against Stanford, setting an OSU record for the longest receiving touchdown. By the end of the season, he'd racked up 37 receptions for 886 yards and 8 touchdowns. Chad was unstoppable. With a season like that, it's no surprise the Cincinnati Bengals came calling in the 2001 NFL Draft, picking Johnson in the 2nd round with the 36th overall pick.
Cincinnati has selected wide receiver from Oregon State University, Chad Johnson.
Now, coming into the 2001 season, the Bengals hadn't seen the NFL playoffs since way back in 1990. And unfortunately, 2001 didn't exactly turn things around. They ended up with a 6-10 record, and as for Johnson, well, he started just 3 games as a rookie, pulling in 28 passes for 329 yards and 1 touchdown. But here's where it gets interesting. Johnson made an unconventional choice by making Paul Brown Stadium his home for the first 2 years, foregoing the need for a separate residence.
How often would you sleep at the stadium?
First two years, I would stay at the stadium.
He found everything he needed right there: housing, food, showers, and entertainment, which not only saved him money but also helped him stay focused on the game. In the 2002 season, the Bengals didn't exactly improve. They only managed to win 2 games, their lowest total in team history. But Johnson, he was on another level. He started 14 games, hauling in an impressive 69 receptions for 1,166 yards and 5 touchdowns. And you know what? Maybe living at the stadium wasn't such a crazy idea after all. It seemed to work out pretty darn well. Heading into the 2003 season, the Bengals brought in Marvin Lewis as their new head coach, and things started to change. In his 3rd season, the Bengals went 8-8. And Johnson was on fire. He led the AFC in receiving with a Bengals franchise record of 1,355 yards and found the end zone 10 times, earning his first Pro Bowl. But here's the kicker. Johnson wasn't just pushing boundaries on the field. He was pushing the NFL's patience with his outrageous celebrations. Dude couldn't resist turning a touchdown into a spectacle. And the league? Well, they weren't too pleased. Johnson racked up fines left and right for his antics, including one where he whipped out a pre-made sign from behind a snowbank begging the NFL not to fine him again. Spoiler alert, they fined him $10,000. Now let's talk about 2004. The Bengals had a bit of a slow start adjusting to a new quarterback, Carson Palmer, but they found their groove and finished 8-8. And Johnson? Oh, he kept the party going. He led the AFC in receiving for the second straight season, racking up 1,274 yards and 9 touchdowns, earning himself another Pro Bowl. But it was 2005 where Johnson really turned up the heat. Dude was on another level, both on and off the field. He kept the celebrations wild and wacky, from river dancing to proposing to a cheerleader. And let's not forget the stunt where he putted the ball with the pylon. With Johnson catching Palmer's passes, backed by a solid offensive line and a sharp defense, the Bengals had their first winning season since 1991, finishing 11-5 and clinching the AFC North. Johnson himself led the AFC in receiving for the 4th straight season, setting a franchise record with 1,432 yards and 9 touchdowns, and earning his 3rd consecutive Pro Bowl. But here's the part. Johnson wasn't just dominating on the field, he was messing with opponents' heads. He kept a list at his locker called Who Covered 85 in 005, publicly grading defenders on how well they managed to contain him. And let me tell you, more often than not, they came up short. Johnson was unstoppable, both on the stat sheet and in the mind games. In 2006, Johnson faced early setbacks with an injury sidelining him for the first half of the season. Despite this, he rebranded himself as Chad Ochocinco to honor Hispanic Heritage Month and nod to his jersey number 85.
And the idea came from Carson himself. Hey, why don't you put Ochocinco on the back of your jersey?
Despite his initial struggles, he bounced back impressively, ending the season with league-leading stats: 1,369 yards on 87 receptions and 7 touchdowns, securing another Pro Bowl. Now heading into the 2007 season, Johnson was on a mission to top himself, and boy did he deliver. In the first game against the Baltimore Ravens on Monday Night Football, he snagged a 39-yard pass for the game's first touchdown. And then, well, he donned a gold jacket resembling the Pro Football Hall of Fame inductees with Future HOF 20-something emblazoned on the back. But he didn't stop there. In the next game against the Cleveland Browns, he went off, racking up 209 yards on 11 catches for 2 touchdowns. That performance broke the Bengals' franchise record for receiving yards previously held by Isaac Curtis. Despite a not-so-stellar season for the Bengals, Johnson still finished the season with a career-best 1,440 yards on 93 receptions and 8 touchdowns, earning his 5th consecutive Pro Bowl selection. By this point, Chad Johnson had reached the pinnacle of his career as a receiver. He was like a finely tuned machine on the field, known for his exceptional route running, lightning-fast speed, sticky hands, and overall athleticism. For a solid 4 to 5 year stretch, he consistently ranked among the top 5 receivers in the league. Johnson wasn't just about skills. His larger-than-life personality was what set him apart. On and off the field, he mixed sweetness with sass. Impossible to overlook. You couldn't separate his touchdowns from his epic celebrations. Love him or hate him, Ochocinco was that guy who talked the talk and walked the walk. But beyond the flashy stuff, there was a consistency to him that you couldn't miss. His infectious enthusiasm for the game made him stand out from the rest. Whether he was celebrating, trash-talking, or rocking mismatched shoes, you couldn't help but be drawn to him. In 2008, he legally changed his last name to Ochocinco, so he could officially put the name on his jersey. But unfortunately, it turned out to be one of his toughest seasons as a pro. With Carson Palmer sidelined due to injury, the Bengals stumbled out of the gate going 0-8, and Chad felt the impact of the losses, putting up just 53 catches for a meager 540 yards and 4 touchdowns. His worst statistical season since his rookie year. But things started looking good again in 2009, when Palmer returned to the lineup. The Bengals finished with a respectable 10-6 record, and Ochocinco bounced back with his 7th career 1,000-yard season, hauling in 72 passes for 1,047 yards and 9 touchdowns, earning himself yet another Pro Bowl. By the 2010 season, Ochocinco was entering his 10th year in the league. He kicked off the season with a bang, tying the franchise record for touchdown catches and reaching 10,000 receiving yards with the Bengals. However, his stats took a hit that season with 67 receptions for 831 yards and 4 touchdowns. It seemed like Ocho's star was fading fast. In the summer of 2011, the Bengals traded Johnson to the Patriots despite concerns about fitting into Coach Bill Belichick's disciplined system. Expected to be a key target for Tom Brady, Johnson struggled to adapt, managing just 15 catches for 276 yards and a touchdown the entire season. After the Patriots lost Super Bowl 46 to the New York Giants, he was released, ending his brief tenure with the team. A few days later, he found a new home with the Miami Dolphins, where he reverted to his original last name, Johnson. But his time with the Dolphins was short-lived. Following an arrest for an altercation, he was cut from the team, bringing an end to his NFL career. Despite his flamboyant persona, Johnson was remarkably frugal, saving an impressive 80% of his $48 million NFL earnings. He embraced unconventional tactics like wearing fake jewelry, leasing luxury cars, and even living in the Bengals stadium for 2 years to save on housing costs. Additionally, he attributed his success to his unhealthy obsession with McDonald's, which he claimed fueled his NFL career from childhood through adulthood.
You know what happened when I was little too, when I ate McDonald's? I never got hurt. You know what else I did as a kid when I ate McDonald's? I dominated everything that I did, even in kindergarten.
Proving that his eccentricities didn't hinder his remarkable achievements. In his 11 NFL seasons, Johnson achieved impressive milestones: 7 1,000-yard seasons, 766 receptions for 11,059 yards, and 67 touchdowns in 166 games, and earning 6 Pro Bowls. While his Hall of Fame induction remains uncertain as of now, Johnson's legacy is defined by both his on-field excellence and off-field charisma. From his dynamic celebrations to his larger-than-life personality, Ochocinco ensured there was never a dull moment. Do you believe Ocho's career is deserving of a place in Canton? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe to Play Action for more videos like this.